Welcome, friends. If you love learning about Islamic history, you are in the right place. This channel brings you stories from the past, full of facts and meaning. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today's story is about a famous and important event. We will look closely at the Battle of Badr. This was a turning point in early Islamic history, and its lessons are still powerful today. The Battle of Badr was not just a fight. It was a moment that changed the future for the Muslims in Arabia. In this story, I will guide you through the events, step by step. Let's begin this journey together. Listen well as we travel back to a time of hardship, courage, and faith. The Battle of Badr stands as one of the most significant moments in early Islamic history. It took place in the year 624 CE, marking a turning point for the fledgling Muslim community. The battle unfolded near a small but vital well called Badr, located about 80 miles southwest of Medina. This seemingly quiet spot would soon become the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Badr was not chosen by chance. It lay along the main trade routes that connected Mecca to the wider world. These routes were the lifeblood of the Quraysh, the dominant tribe of Mecca, who relied on them for their wealth and influence. For the early Muslims, life in Medina was filled with hardship and uncertainty. Just 2 years earlier, they had left behind their homes, families, and possessions in Mecca, seeking refuge from persecution and hoping to build a new life. The leaders of the Quraysh saw the rise of Islam as a direct threat to their authority, traditions, and way of life. Determined to crush this new faith, they plotted to destroy the Muslim community before it could grow any stronger. Despite being vastly outnumbered and poorly equipped, the Muslims were united by a powerful sense of faith and purpose. Their determination and belief in their cause gave them strength in the face of overwhelming odds. On the plains of Badr, the Muslim force, numbering just over 300, faced a Quraysh army nearly 3 times their size, armed with superior weapons and resources. The tension was palpable as both sides prepared for battle. The outcome of this battle was uncertain, but its significance was clear. The eyes of Arabia were fixed on Badr, knowing that the result would shape the destiny of Islam and its followers for generations to come. The Battle of Badr is remembered not just as a clash over territory or riches, but as a struggle for survival, faith, and hope. It was a defining moment that would inspire Muslims for centuries, reminding them of the power of belief and unity in the face of adversity. The reasons for the Battle of Badr were deep, complex, and intensely personal for both sides. This was not just a simple clash over territory or wealth. It was a confrontation shaped by years of pain, loss, and hope for justice. For years, the early Muslims in Mecca had endured harsh persecution. Many had been forced to leave behind everything they owned, their homes, their businesses, and even their families. Driven out by the powerful Quraysh tribe, they sought refuge in Medina. But the wounds of exile ran deep. The Quraysh had not only expelled them, but also seized their property and wealth. Everything the Muslims had worked for was taken away, leaving them with nothing but memories and a longing for justice. The Quraysh also tried to stop anyone from joining Islam, using threats, violence, and social pressure to keep people from accepting the new faith. They wanted to crush the movement before it could grow. Then, news reached the Muslims in Medina. A wealthy Quraysh caravan, loaded with goods, was passing nearby on its way back from Syria. This was no ordinary caravan. It represented the wealth that had been taken from them. The caravan, led by Abu Sufyan, was heavily guarded and carried treasures and goods that once belonged to the Muslims. It was a symbol of their loss, but also an opportunity for justice. The Muslims saw this as a chance to reclaim what was rightfully theirs, to restore some of what had been taken, and to send a message that they would not be oppressed any longer. Meanwhile, the Quraysh leaders in Mecca were determined to protect their caravan at all costs. They quickly assembled a large army, not just to defend their wealth, but to punish the Muslims and put an end to their growing influence. The Quraysh wanted to show their power, protect their interests, and make sure Islam would not threaten their authority in Arabia. They hoped that by crushing the Muslims at Badr, they could stop the spread of Islam once and for all and restore their control over the region. So, the Battle of Badr was about much more than a single fight. It was a struggle for justice, revenge, survival, and the right to believe freely. Both sides were determined to prove their strength, defend their honor, and fight for what they believed was right. As the two armies faced each other on the desert sands, the world watched to see which side would prevail, and whose vision for the future of Arabia would shape history. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gathered about 313 Muslim fighters. They had only a few horses and camels, and honestly, many did not even own swords or armor. Their faith was their strongest weapon. Now, the Quraysh army, on the other hand, was much larger. They brought about 1,000 men, with many horses and strong weapons. Their leaders were proud and confident. The Muslims camped near the wells of Badr, so they would have water, while the Quraysh set up their camp nearby. Both sides watched and waited, knowing the fight could come at any moment. The night before the battle, the Muslims prayed for victory. They believed Allah would help them, even though they were outnumbered. The day of the battle dawned bright and clear, marking a momentous occasion in early Islamic history. It was Friday, the 17th of Ramadan, in the second year after the Hijrah, a date that would become etched in the memories of generations to come. This corresponds to March 13th, 624 of the Common Era, a time when the Arabian Peninsula was a land of shifting alliances and great uncertainty. As the sun rose over the desert, two armies assembled on the open plain near Badr. The air was tense with anticipation as both sides prepared for what would become a defining conflict. The fighting began with the ancient tradition of single combat, a test of skill and bravery that would set the tone for the day. 3 champions from each side stepped forward, representing the hopes and pride of their respective armies. The duels were fierce and closely watched by all. The Muslims emerged victorious in these opening duels, a triumph that filled their ranks with renewed courage and determination. Their early success inspired the rest of the army to stand firm. With spirits high, the main battle erupted in full force. Warriors on both sides clashed with swords and shields, the sounds of battle echoing across the sands. The Muslims, though fewer in number, fought bravely and skillfully. They relied on simple yet effective tactics, maintaining discipline and unity in the face of a much larger enemy. Throughout the struggle, they placed their trust in Allah and followed the guidance of their leader, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whose presence inspired hope and resilience. The Quraysh, taken aback by the unexpected strength and resolve of the Muslims, began to falter. Their lines wavered as confusion and fear spread among their ranks. By the end of the day, the Quraysh army was in full retreat, fleeing across the desert in disarray, leaving behind their fallen and their pride. 70 of their men were killed, and about 70 more were taken captive by the Muslims, marking a decisive victory for the small but determined force. Only about 14 Muslims lost their lives that day. Their sacrifice was deeply mourned and honored, serving as a lasting reminder of the courage and faith that shaped this pivotal moment in history. The leader of the Muslims was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was calm, wise, and brave under pressure. Among his companions, men like Ali ibn Abi Talib, Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib, and Abu Bakr stood out for their heroism. On the Quraysh side, their main leaders included Abu Jahl, Utbah ibn Rabi'a, and Umayyah ibn Khalaf. These men were rich, powerful, and determined to stop the Muslims. Abu Jahl, known as the pharaoh of this nation, was killed in the battle. Many stories of bravery came from both sides. For the Muslims, this was a test of faith. For the Quraysh, it was a shock and a loss of pride. These heroes became legends in Islamic history, inspiring later generations to stand strong. The victory at Badr had a huge impact. It showed that the Muslims could not be easily destroyed. Their faith was stronger than weapons or numbers. Many people in Arabia began to see Islam with new respect. For the Muslims, this win was a sign that Allah was with them. They felt proud and thankful. The captured Quraysh were treated fairly, showing the Islamic values of mercy and justice. After Badr, the Muslim community grew. More people joined Islam, and the enemies of the Muslims began to fear their strength. The battle made the Muslims a real force in Arabia. The Battle of Badr was a turning point in history. It proved that faith and unity could overcome great odds. What lessons do you think we can learn from this moment of courage and belief?